In this video, I'll be showing you how to grow and propagate your terrarium plants. Plant propagation is a great way to multiply your plants without having to buy more, but unfortunately many people think you need to be a plant expert to do so. In this video I'll show you just how easy it is. Let's get straight into it. This is Photonia. It's one of the most popular plants in the terrarium hobby. You can get it in a variety of different leaf shapes and colours, but best of all it's super easy to propagate. This terrarium is over 8 months old, and as you can see the Photonia is starting to overgrow it. I'm going to trim it down, but instead of throwing the cuttings away, I'm going to show you how to propagate them. With some scissors, I trim off a few cuttings. Don't worry too much about where you cut the stem, just try not to make it too short, as this will make propagating a little more difficult. To propagate this plant, all you need to do is plant the stem up to the first set of leaves. I planted a Photonia cutting into this terrarium that had no roots about 2 months ago. As you can see, it's looking super healthy. But if you look underneath, you can see an established root system that has grown. If you'd rather grow a new plant outside a terrarium, then you can get a small pot and fill it with some sphagnum moss or terrarium substrate, and then simply just plant the stem up to the first set of leaves into the pot. They will soon start growing new roots in as little as a couple weeks. Instead of leaving this in the open air where it can be prone to drying out, I highly recommend putting it inside a smoothie cup with a lid on top. This will replicate terrarium conditions and greatly increase the chance of the propagation being successful. I even like to keep established plants in the smoothie cups as well. Next on the list is peperomias. This next propagation method works for most peperomias that have fairly large independent leaves, such as this one here. To show you how to propagate it, I'm going to take some more cuttings from this large bowl terrarium. As you can see, it's doing really well in this terrarium. With some scissors, cut the stem. Try not to cut it too short, as this makes it a little more tricky to propagate. If you wanted, you could just take one cutting, but it's better to increase your chance of success by taking multiple. From each of these leaves you can grow a whole new independent plant. This small leaf at the bottom is the one I use to propagate, and as you can see it's produced this beautiful small plant that is ready for use in a terrarium. Once again, fill a pot with either sphagnum moss or terrarium substrate. And then it's just as easy as sticking the stem down into the sphagnum moss. New growth will form at the bottom of the cutting and will soon sprout out the top of the moss. Don't worry if you break the stem when trying to plant it. Just remove the broken part and then place it back in the substrate. Once again, place inside a smoothie cup for the best chance of a successful propagation. Another way you can propagate peperomia is in water. To do this, simply take a small jar and fill it with water, and then place the stem inside. It's as simple as that. Roots will soon start to grow from the bottom of the stem, and shortly after you will start to see small baby leaves emerging. The next plant I'm going to show you how to propagate is Ficus quercifolia, or better known as oak leaf creeping fig. The same process applies to Ficus pulmila. With some scissors take a cutting, but try to ensure it has at least 4 to 6 leaves. And then to propagate it in a terrarium, it's as simple as placing it on top of some damp substrate or moss. It will soon grow new roots and begin to establish and grow. But now I'm going to show you how to propagate it into a pot like this that you can take cuttings from that you can use in your terrariums. Start by filling the pot with some damp sphagnum moss. I found this to be the best medium for it to grow on. Now I'm going to take 4 to 6 cuttings from the mother plant. Taking cuttings won't hurt the mother plant at all, and it would actually promote new growth. But just try not to thin down the plant too much. Now with some tweezers or your hands, gently place the cuttings on top of the moss and gently press them down. With time, new roots will grow and new shoots will appear, and this pot will soon be full and ready to take cuttings from. Just remember to be patient. I grew the pot on the left exactly the same way. Once again, place it in a smoothie tub, or if you've got many plants you want to propagate, you can get a plastic tub like this. This is ultimately an extra large smoothie cup that will keep the humidity high and your propagation successful. Inside this one I've got some unusual begonia species growing amongst some more Ficus quercifolia. If you plan on propagating a lot of plants, I highly recommend you get a tub like this. When it comes to lighting the plants you have propagated, keep them in a bright spot in indirect sunlight or under some LED lights. Just remember to be patient and don't worry if a propagation doesn't work out. At the end of the day, not every propagation is going to be successful, but you can maximise your chances by propagating multiple cuttings at a time. Give this video a like if you found it useful, and let me know in the comments if there's any other plants you want me to cover. Now you know how to propagate your terrarium plants, why not check out this video where I go over 6 must-know tips to making and keeping healthy terrariums.